Hi everyone, I'm SueKi. I grew up in Penang and then I actually moved to KL to study at Aswara. So I did my bachelor's degree in dance there and graduated in 2017. After that, I was dancing full-time for 2 years with ASK Dance Company, or otherwise known as ADC. Last year, I actually had kind of a major injury and surgery, so moved back to Penang, and then the COVID-19 pandemic happened. So right now, I'm actually a freelance dance artist, choreographer, and also dance instructor, but it has been a tricky time, not only for me, of course, but for all of us. I think artists, it's always such a tricky thing, right? To sustain ourselves and to sustain our career. Having the pandemic make things even harder because, for instance, productions couldn't go on and classes couldn't go on. Even working together with someone became very tricky, right? With all this social distancing measures, which of course is really important and we all have to do our part, but also what I actually found interesting was that how artists all over the world, including here in Malaysia, how we have just kind of forged on, even though we couldn't continue our practice the way that we usually did, but everyone is just kind of trying out new possibilities of working, of creating, of collaborating, just finding new ways of doing things. I think we all are. And so for instance, online, right, or virtual kind of methods have become so popular. And in some ways, of course, there are its own limitations, but in some ways, it has also removed some limitations, for instance, distance. So wherever you are in the world, you will be able to follow any class that you want, or you are able to collaborate with another artist, even if the artist is, halfway across the world. And I think that's really amazing. It opens up a lot of new possibilities. And online classes is actually something that I've never personally taken or taught before this whole situation. But when is a better time to try it, right? So today I'm going to share with you an online class. And I think actually even structuring it and thinking of what to share and how do I share all this information and technique through a screen when you're not with everyone in person is actually almost a different structure or different format. And it has been really interesting for me. And so I hope that you will enjoy my class because I had a lot of fun making it. Have fun. Thank you for joining me today. I'm SueKi and I'm teaching a little bit of contemporary dance floorwork technique for this video. So floorwork is a big part of contemporary dance. There is always a focus on emphasis on our relationship with the floor, with the ground. How do we use gravity or work with gravity in our movements? And for those of you who are not familiar with contemporary dance, maybe you've done ballet or jazz or traditional dance, floorwork may seem something rather new. So don't worry, we're just going to go through some very basic but also I think very useful movements because these are basic concepts and ideas that once you get used to finding the flow and understanding the coordination in these movements, you can adapt it. You can find so many variations with how to play with this movement. And the focus for this video is finding coordination and how do we protect ourselves when we're dancing with the floor when we're doing floor work, right? So if we don't know how the movement function, or if we don't know where we're shifting our weight, sometimes we may injure ourselves, we may fall, or we may get bruises, or all this awkward contact with the floor. So we want to try and avoid that. So what I can say is, if you need, you can repeat the video, take more time, really understand where does your arm go, where does your leg go, where does your head go. So all this pathway of different body parts working together for me is really important. And once you understand it, it becomes so automatic that when you learn other floor work choreography or other floor work techniques, these things will definitely help. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show the right side and left side of some basic movements, and at the end of this we're going to bring these different techniques together to do a very short choreography. It's very simple, but it's definitely drawing from everything that we've learned before, and it's more on letting you experience or letting you try how to connect these movements and how to find the flow. So how do I go from one movement into the next without making it look like it's separate chunks of movement, but finding the momentum. So momentum for me is helpful in, so rather than using so much of force or effort, of course you need that, but also using momentum so that everything goes seamlessly, and everything sometimes is going into the next movement before you come out of the next movement, if that makes sense. So let's start. The first one is actually not really, before we go into any technique, this thing is just for you to understand the pathway of your feet. Okay, so just sit and have your feet in parallel. You can use your arms for support, and we're just going to do something really simple. Okay, I just want you to notice where does your feet go when you cross them. So just drop your right leg and have your left foot circle out and coming back in. And then now to the left, as in right leg go to the left and coming back in. So those of you who are familiar with what is a rather typical exercise in contemporary dance, so we're not going to do that today, but I'm just saying where it could lead you. So by just understanding this, so we try never to have our feet off the floor, because then you have some kind of clumsy landing maybe. So let's try to always have this contact with the floor. So just swing and swing and swing, and always finding this kind of circular motion, this swinging motion, so that you're never doing this, right? And just swing, and also take note of how much do you have to bend your leg so that your other leg has space to go. So sometimes in rolls or certain movements, what we forget is we forget to make space for our other leg, and then it becomes awkward. So knowing when to bend the leg and when to swing it out and which leg is having the space to move right now, for me is really important. So you can just try this a few times, and if you notice, I'm also shifting my weight, right, from my right to my left, and using my hands to help me. So this helps when you want to make the movement bigger, right? You can turn. It's the same movement, but you're just letting the momentum take you. But the focus is on this right now. And for those of you who want to try, you can just eventually swing more, and you can maybe say, okay, I want to turn to 90 degrees, so I want to turn a half a circle, and then now I want to go more. But if you notice, my leg is still going through the same pathways, right? And so once you understand this concept, then it will greatly help you in other movements. Which brings me to my next technique. So the next one is we're going to do a roll on the floor. And the beginning is the same. You're just going to drop to your right. And you're going to use your hand to, let me show it this way. So you're just going to drop to the right. Your right hand is going to go to the floor. So if you notice, I'm not just dropping to the floor, but I'm kind of sliding my hand through from my fingers to my palm to my elbow to my shoulder. So everything is really controlled, right? So here, and then now I'm going to swing my left hand up over my head, drawing it in a circle. And then now I'm kind of flat on my back. And my right hand is also going to come up over my head, and just as just now, I'm coming up from the side. So we go down from the side, and when we come up from the side as well. Same thing, I'm not jerking it off, but I'm kind of going through these steps and off. Okay? So I'm going to show once facing the front. So going to the right hand to the floor. Remember to lie on your side. Left hand make a circle. So you pass through, lying flat on the floor. Right hand circle and pulls you up. So from this angle, maybe you can see clearer how I come up. Left hand, and as my right hand come up, my left hand is going to close. Same thing with the legs, right? If I keep it here, I'm not going to have space. So I want you to close this hand, and your right hand is going to continue to reach. And this hand, because it's bent, it can help you in getting off the floor. So together with this reaching out of the right hand, so there is no jerking of the body, there is no force off the floor, but everything is really fluid. So same thing, we're going to try it on the left side. I'm still going to show it on 3 sides, but same idea. So drop your left leg, shift your weight to the left, left hand on the floor, go through everything, go down on your left side. Now right hand go over, left hand also go over, circle, and come up from your side, continue to make a circle. So even my body is continuously making the circle. I am not just coming up here, but from here, how do I continue the circle? So my spine is also following my arm movement. So one more time, facing this side. So go to the left, drop, and right arm sweep, left arm sweep, and coming up from the side. Okay, one more time, facing this way to see how I come up. So drop from the left and place your left hand down, right arm sweep, and I really want you to feel like you're reaching out in a big circle. So you can do this, that's fine, but if you want to create more momentum and you want to create space in your movement, then really feel like you're reaching in a huge circle. Same thing with the second, and come up. Okay, and this reaching out or this stretching is going to give you the push that you need to come up off the floor. So as opposed to that I'm using a lot of this strength to push up. But if I feel like someone is pulling my arms here and they're swinging me, and it's much easier to get off the floor. So it's the same idea. We're going to focus next a little bit on the legs. So if I'm just sitting down, we're going to combine what we've learned for these pathways of the feet and also pathways of the hand. But we're just going to focus on a floor position. So if my left leg goes and my right leg, if my left leg goes and my left hand reach out at the same time, so I'm going to expand this left side, go flat on the floor, and my right is going to come in. And reverse would be right reaching out, right coming in, left coming in. So these are just different variations depending on whether you're rolling from sitting or you're rolling from the floor. Other side, same thing. So you're on the left, right arm reach out, close on the right first, and then left, close. Or if you go on the left, left hand, left leg, And then this is continuing to close, right? So this doesn't stop. But as this is closing, this is opening, and this is closing. So very much like a, yeah, if I'm standing up and I'm just doing my hand, is very much like this kind of movement. So you have your right arm and your right leg extending at the same time, except that you're doing it on the floor. So the next thing that we're going to do is also related to this feet pathway. But what if we're going from a standing position, okay? So I'm just going to show you. If I have my right leg here, and I place my left hand on the floor, I'm going to spiral down. And now I'm kind of in this stuck position, right? Not stuck, but how do I get out of this is I'm going to swing my right leg out and cross my left leg. So if you remember this movement from the very first thing that we did, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, so this is showing you how to spiral into the floor and out of the floor. So step your right leg, you're just going to twist to the right. So kind of twisting to the right, and your left leg is going to come in, sit on your left leg, and then do the thing that we did before, right? So just opening it out and bending it so that this leg has space to go, and then you can come up off the floor. So if you do it on the left side, step on the left, twist to the left, use your right arm for support, right? So we are using this hand so that we are not smashing our knee on the floor, right? So as you twist, you can already have this here, and a lot of your weight is also on this leg. So this leg is really light and has space to just glide down, and you do this crossing movement, and you come up. I'm going to show one more time facing the back. So if I'm doing on my right side, I'm stepping on my right, twisting to the right, left hand on the floor, tucking this in. So one thing you want to be sure is not to do this, because you see then it's hard for my leg to go, or a lot of people end up doing this, right? So when I twist and I sit down, make sure that your knee is here and not stuck behind your other leg. Okay, so it's here so that this leg has space to go, this leg has space to go. Transfer your weight, come up. Same thing on the left. I step on the left, I twist to the left. Automatically my right leg, my right hand goes down. This, remember, don't keep it stuck here, but keep it close to you. Sit on your right. Now this leg is free to go, and this leg goes. Transfer your weight and come up. So these are just some basic concepts, and if you notice, they are all connected. So whether it's on the floor, whether you're going in and out of the floor, the pathway is really, really important. We're just going to do two more techniques that I think is also rather important. So a lot of floor work also has this, even from just now, right? We have this relationship using our hands on the floor. So remember that when you're using your hands on the floor, it's kind of the same as using your feet on the floor. So when our feet is on the floor, we are always very aware of how am I pushing off the floor, or what is the pressure, or if I want to lengthen, I need to push into the floor to go up, right? Same with balancing, it's the same. So you should never just place your hand on the floor without preparation. So remember that your hand, this contact of your hand with the floor is very important, this grip, right? So how you're placing your hand, how are you transferring, so you know which part of the hand that you're using. This is all things you have to be aware of, and also because we don't want to accidentally injure our wrist. So if we are prepared and we know, okay, I want to transfer my weight there, so my wrist is prepared and I can just go, rather than just, you know, then I might accidentally sprain it or something. So you can rotate your wrist a little bit, just feel it, yeah, get used to this feeling of touching the floor. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to transfer our weight very lightly to the right and to the left. So if I'm on here and my hands are going to reach out to the right, Okay, but because I still want to face here, so I don't want to put it here. For this technique, for this exercise, I just want to place it so as if I'm staying here. So this will help me later when I want to transfer to the right. Okay, so very simple. Just place your hands to the right. Okay, and now what I want you to do actually is to try shifting some weight onto your hands. Okay, and the reason why you want to do this is so that if most of our weight is on our hands, then our feet can be lighter, right? So if I show it sideways and I'm transferring to the right, I can, right? So then you go off the floor and you come in, even if you slide or if you jump, but it's the same idea. You need some transfer of weight to your hands. So you're going to try that again. And if you can try either sliding your legs or bringing your hips up. Okay? So just transfer to the right. Think about bringing your pelvis up. Just sliding over. Same thing to the left side. Okay? So place it to the left. This really also depends on how strong you feel and how confident you are. If you're starting, you can place it really close. That's fine. Get used to it, get your wrist used to the movement, knowing how to articulate it and how to transfer your weight. And when you're ready, then you can go for something further. Right? So one more time, I'm just going to show to the back. Facing the back. So going to the right, right? Or going to the left, reaching out, transferring to the left. Okay. Just for the choreography's sake, there are of course a lot of variations to this movement, but let's do something with a slide. So for the slide, I'm going to show to the right first. So I'm going to go from a standing position, place my hands on the floor, and now because most of my weight is on my hand, my legs are going to slide there. So I'm going to slide my right leg first and then left leg. So if I'm going to the right leg, left leg. So once, instead of coming into this seated position, I land, I'm going to sit on my right side and my left leg is just going here. Okay? Same thing to the other side. If I go to the left, I reach out my hands. I'm going to slide my left leg, slide my right leg, sit down. And if most of your weight is on your hand, so that is why your leg is free to slide. And one more thing is, I usually prefer to slide here on the toes rather than on the knee point. The reason is because if I slide it here, at some point, there will be an awkward landing, right? So if I already slide it in this position, it's easier for me and smoother for me to just slide into the floor. But of course, yes, so some people think this looks very scary. So it's not. As long as most of your weight is on your hand, then it's really light. Okay, I'm going to show once just facing back. So if I'm going to my right, here, right leg, left leg. Okay, and to the left, transfer my hands, right, and then left leg, right leg. Okay, so that's some transfer of weight to the hands and then just sliding through. You can do this variation with jumps, with different kind of movements. And the last thing we're going to do, not the last thing, but the last technique that we're going to break down today is doing a floral onto your chest. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen this movement before. So we're going to do it again from the right side first. We start with a seated position. And we're going to drop our way to the right. Okay? I think this movement is one of the trickiest in the sense that it looks so simple and most people could immediately follow. But what is important for me is finding the flow of the movement so it looks really organic and really smooth. And I think that is actually really tricky. So we're going to drop to the right. Hands are going to place as if you're in this position. So not here, not here. So this is important for me, already having that correct position. And make sure your hands are not too far or too wide. The reason is because if it's too far, it's hard to come off the floor later on, right? So you want it really close, almost when you go down, it's right in front of your shoulders. So drop to the right, use your hands, right? And your head is going to lead the movement. So I feel like you almost want to kiss the floor, right? So you go down, and once you're in the floor, so now your head goes, and then your chest, your pelvis, your leg. And then you're going to make a small circular motion. And as you make this motion, your leg is also going to the left side, right? So circular motion, come up from the left. And then now this leg is actually going to lead the movement. It's going to pull you up. And your hand is just going to transfer your way. So try not to push off the floor. So it's not a push-up, but rather think of it as a transfer of weight so that there is an organic shift of weight in the movement. I'm going to show it one more time. Drop to the right, circle, and come up. So if you notice, my head never stops, right? I'm not going down and I'm staying there, but it's almost making the shape, right? I'm going to do it one more time, facing this way. So now I'm dropping to my right, drop, circle. Yeah, so you see, even when I'm coming up, I'm going close to the floor and coming up first. If I show it facing back, I go right, circle, and up. Okay, last direction, facing the front, so you can look at my legs. I go to the right, circle, and up. Okay, exactly the same kind of technique, practice it on your left side. So left side, start with seated position, same idea of dropping your weight to the left. Don't let yourself drop, right? Remember to use your hands to brace yourself, not too wide. Keep it close to you. Go into the floor like you want to kiss the floor. And the rest of your body snake through, make a circle, coming up. And this is going to pull you up. Okay, so it's almost, for me, it feels very snaky. This movement feels very snaky. And when I'm going into the floor, I'm using my head to lead the movement. But when I'm coming out of the floor, it is actually my foot that is leading the movement. So if I'm doing it here, okay, and to the back. So my head is going first, and the rest of my body follow. But when I'm coming up, this is going first. My leg is coming up first, and my head is the last one to come up. Okay, one last time to the front, drop to the left. Okay, so for me, this articulation of the spine is important. So rather than just going together in one piece, but kind of think about going in different sections of your body. And coming up also in different sections. So it's your feet going, pulling your hips, pulling your side, your chest, and your head is the last one. Okay, so I think that's it. So let's go into a mini choreography, putting some of these basic movements together. So we're going to start in the middle of the space, and the first one, we're actually just going to slide our right leg out, transfer our weight to the right leg, bring up the left leg. Okay, so in this choreography, it really depends on how comfortable you feel and of course how much space you have around you. So feel free to adjust the movements. And sometimes if I make a bigger movement and what you're comfortable with, if you just want to do it small, that's fine too. So what is important is not how high you bring it. Of course, I want you to try and challenge yourself, but really focusing on the pathway of the movement. So where is your leg going? How are you turning? How are you transferring your weight? So for me, that is more important. And once you get the coordination or you get the flow of the movement, then you can try and challenge yourself. How do I travel more in the space? How do I make this movement bigger? How do I extend more? Okay, so transfer our weight, slide our right leg out, transfer to the right, left leg off the floor, and we're just going to kind of glide it through, right? So you kind of bend it and place it in front of your right leg and shift your weight to the left leg and just do a slight turn. So just kind of like a half turn, right? Your leg doesn't really change. You're just going to like pivot a little bit, okay? This is just the intro and then we'll get into the floor work. So again, slide to the right, left leg off, sliding through, and half turn. So now this half turn is actually preparation for you to go into the sliding movement that we've done just now. So half turn, already going to the floor, right? You're already preparing, you know you're going down. Place your hand. So now this is traveling in a diagonal, right? So traveling in the diagonal to the left. So I'm placing my hands here facing a diagonal because in a sense that is now my front. And I'm sliding left leg, right leg. Exactly like the movement we did just now. So I'm just going to show it once, facing the front. So hands, right, facing the front to the left, left leg slide out, right leg slide out. Okay, except that in this movement, we are traveling to the diagonal, left leg, right leg. Okay, I'm sure you got it. So the next one, now we are sitting on our left. We're just going to shift our weight to the right, and we're going to go into the floor, like the technique that we learned. So remember, if you go on your you go on your right, use your right hand to help you go down on your side. Make a circle with your left hand. Circle with your right hand. And come up on your left side. So you're making a circle on the floor. So again, after you slide, shift your weight to the right. Go down into the floor on the right. Left circle, right circle, coming up. And now I just want you to extend the movement a little bit more, and that's what I mean by you can always add variations to this movement. So after you come up and you have this circular motion, you kind of continue the circle, and again you shift your weight from the left to the right. And I want you to place your hands in this diagonal. Okay, so transfer. You're going to push your pelvis up. Okay. And this hand, if you remember, after I come up, this has a circle. I place it. This is going to continue the circle, and I'm going to extend in this long diagonal line with my foot and my hand. Okay, so it's all actually a continuous circular movement. So try and find the flow so that when you're doing the movement, it's not so much about where do I have to go or which hand I'm using, but rather just sensing the flow and letting it take you. So after we slide into the floor, transfer, right hand down, left hand circle, right hand circle, come off the floor on your left, transfer to the other side, left, continue to make a circle, right hand on the floor, and extend. Okay, I'm going to show it once, facing the back. So we transfer to our right, left leg up, cut it through from the front of our right leg, do a half turn. You're going into the floor, right? So place your hands. And since you're going to the left, remember that your left foot goes first, and don't slide on demi point, slide it here. Okay, so once you've come down, continue transferring your weight. Go down to your right side, left circle, right circle. Continue coming up, continue shifting. And now your left, will reach. Okay? So it's almost like once you slide and then you just go continuously in this spiraling motion. For this exercise, I am not fixing the counting, even though we will try it with the music later. And the reason is because it really depends on the space that you have and how big is your movement. So don't worry too much about timing. I want you to focus on the flow and use the momentum of the movement, and that is for me more important. So I'm going to show one more time from the top, and then we're going to continue. So slide to the right, left leg off the floor, cut it through, half turn, place your hands, slide it through, transfer, go into the floor, circle, up, and diagonal. Okay, so this one, the next thing, I want you to imagine some kind of rebound. So it's like you have a pendulum and it swings, and then it reaches its maximum, it's going to reverse its motion, right? So that is exactly what you're doing. You're going to swing here, and then you've gone so far, now you're actually going to reverse the motion. So you're going to slide back down. So sit back on your right, okay? And I want you to continue this sweep, and we're going to go into the floral. So this is maybe a little bit tricky in terms of angle. I just want you to maybe think about your face or your head facing your front. So you may need to turn a little bit more. So from here, as you sit down, you're actually not just coming down, but you're already sweeping, right? You're already cutting through this circle. Continue from here. Okay, so I hope you see the connection from here. You slice it through, continue, go into the floor, circle, your leg comes up, and you come up. Okay, so it's all movements that we've done just now. So now it's just a matter of connecting them. But it is this transitions for me that is tricky, but it's the details that make the movement looks really organic and really smooth. So one more time from here. Sorry, I'm going to show from the back maybe. So from here, cut it through, continue the circle, head facing to the front, you make a circle, and you come up. Okay? We're almost done, really. So after you roll and you come up, and this is what we've done also earlier, keeping this leg and allowing this leg to come through. So remember this thing that we did before. So swing and swing, swing and cross your legs. So it's the same. After you come up, this leg is going to swing, right leg is going to go in front. Okay, now as you cross your right leg, I want you to also use your left hand to help support you, but basically you're coming kind of into this seated position. Okay, so like from here, you're just going to transfer it up. So make sure that your feet, this bottom foot is not here, right? So you just come up, it's just a very light shift. Okay, so from here, swing it through, you come up here, and then now this is an additional movement. I want you to make a circle with your hand, swinging it back, okay? And as you swing it back, you almost feel like you're opening this and you're letting it drop, okay? I'm going to show it once first. So, okay? So this foot is going up and kind of going through a circle position down into the floor, okay? If it looks scary to you, it's really not. Make sure that you have your weight a lot on this leg and a lot on your hand. So if I show it from here, this is what it looks like. So you see, my weight is here, and that's why this leg is free to go. And as I come down, it's controlled. It's controlled movement, and I'm gradually shifting my weight back onto my right side, so I am not just dropping it. Okay? So again, after you swing, you come up, swing your hand and kind of feel this pushing, right? pushing, and I want this hand to extend. So in some sense, there is also a counterbalance. So this is going there, but because my hand is extending there, so there is not a lot of pressure on this side. So ta, I kind of have this position, and I go down. And if you notice, my hand is also coming together to help me transfer my weight back onto my leg. So it's a matter of coordination, really. So once you find it, you find that it's much easier to do. So ta, going down, repeat the same movement, sliding our right hand through, remember, going from our right side and rolling to our left. Okay, but we've done this movement earlier, so now we're going to make it a little bit fancier. So after we slide this down, we go down on our right. This is exactly the same. Now your hand doesn't change. Your hands, you still go left and right. But what we're going to add is some legs. So as your left hand go in a circle, your left leg is also going to circle, right? So it's crossing through, you're bringing it up, and then now your right leg is going to cross over. So in a sense, it's very much like your hands movement, right? So your hands are going left and right. And basically your legs are going left and right. So same movement, same side, okay? I'm going to show it once here. So right, go down your right. Left hand and left leg kind of go at the same time. Right, and you come up. And if you notice, I am not just bringing it up, but I am having also a circular motion. So I'm not just dropping it, but I'm letting this circle take me, continue the circle, coming up. Okay, so last movement. Here, circle, circle. As you come up, same movement as before, right? Remember what we did with this dropping, crossing over. So same thing. Once you come up, you cross over, and then you come off the floor. And that's the end of the sequence. So it's all stuff that you've already learned, except for one or two, like this one. Okay, it's just transition movements. So I'm going to bring you through again right from the top to the end, and let's see how it goes. If you want to take more time for certain movements, feel free to do so. So we transfer, up, cross to the front, half turn, place our hands, slide left leg, slide right leg, turn, go into the floor, circle the left, circle the right, continue the circle, place your hand, reach out in the diagonal, and you rebound, go into the roll, head facing the front, coming up, cross your leg, and transfer, going down, right hand. Now this involves the legs too, coming up, crossing over, transfer, and you're done. Okay, I'm going to show one more time, facing the back. So, sliding through on the right, left, left cutting through, half turn, place your hands to that diagonal, slide through left and right, make sure through your point, transfer your way, going down, circle, circle, continue the circle, transfer, reach to the diagonal, right? And that is reaching to that diagonal. Rebound, reverse the motion, go into the floor, remember, head first, circle through, coming up, and right leg, bring it in, and now push it out, right? Remember that this one in a sense is reaching out, sit, and go out on your right, circle, circle with your legs this time, coming up, crossing your left leg over. Use your hands, get off the floor. Okay, so I hope that's clear. If you need, you can repeat and just take time really to figure out. And don't worry too much about the direction, because sometimes depending on the extension of your movement, depending on your space, sometimes directions will change, so that's completely fine. We're going to try some music. Don't worry about the timing. Just use it for momentum and for energy, and really just have fun. And we're going to do it once. I'm going to face here, and we're going to do it one more time. I'm going to face the back. I hope that was okay for you, and that you managed to find some kind of flow, some kind of continuity in the movement. And I hope that the technique in the beginning section helped. If you want, you can try this sequence out on the left side, right? So the sequence may change, but the basic technique is the important part, and how you use these movements is really up to you. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you had fun.